What's happening now? We're about to send you back to the future!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Back to the Future, the show in which we take a classic film that one of us or both of us might not have seen and we take a look at it now. I was trying to do it all in one breath, I don't really know why. I'm Drew Bridger.
I'm Amber Inch.
And today's episode is coming out a little bit later than usually planned. We had to do this after someone recovered from being a little bit unwell. And for the first time, it wasn't me.
No.
How long did you manage to last?
What do you mean?
How long did you manage to last before it got you?
I don't know. When did it start?
It was
2.5 years?
Yeah, you lasted a good 2.5 years. I think you're one of the last people left on the planet that hasn't had it at this point. But you came down with the Rona. The Rona, which is a little bit of a shame, and you were a little bit worse for wear. Obviously, didn't really feel like talking a whole lot.
No. Couldn't really concentrate on watching a film, unfortunately.
No, your symptoms didn't last as long as I thought they might last.
Well, it was a week.
But they were really bad. Your headache was basically so bad you couldn't wear your glasses and couldn't see anything, which is a little bit of a shame. But you're better now. You're back to health. You're fighting fit. You're kicking and punching all over the place.
Am I?
Yeah. Look at you. You're springy. You were up, you were kicking and punching all over the place, which is a good thing.
And unusual. I got that since COVID because I never did that before.
Yeah, I know, right? You came out the other side of COVID and were like, I know Kung Fu. Like the Matrix. I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So it's convenient that today, even though it's a little bit delayed, we still found some time to hop back into our Wayback Machine to the year 1994. Because we need to complete a franchise.
Yeah. This is the first time ever I've ever done it.
I know, what? Completing a full franchise. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it stands to reason that the first film of this franchise was one of the first films that we did for the podcast and still the best. And it was also the first trilogy that we completed on the podcast.
Yeah.
And now it's the first franchise that we've completed well.
I meant in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what other franchises are there that I would have seen every single one of them? The
Ah,
whole way through.
I mean, the Marvel franchise,
No.
technically.
I haven't seen a couple of the Thor ones.
I think you have, because we did a rewatch before
Yeah, but I fell asleep, I don't remember.
Oh, okay, all right. I won't count those then.
Also, the Hulk. I don't think I saw that.
Maybe not. I guess not. I know that we did a rewatch before
Did they have
Infinity
a Mark
War
Ruffalo
came
Hulk
out.
film?
No.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
It was
no, I
just
haven't.
him
Okay, that's fine.
in Avengers. But it's he's a continuation of the Incredible Hulk,
Yeah.
which was Edward Norton.
Yeah, but that doesn't count, does it?
Oh, I guess not. I don't know. It still counts in the Marvel universe. It counts to those that have seen it, that took the time to go and watch it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like for some reason I feel like you would have completed the Rocky franchise.
No.
I don't
I've
know
only seen
why.
the first one and a bit of the second one.
Oh, okay. Makes a note of that for future. Excellent.
Yeah, I haven't seen...
Next on the list.
I haven't seen, like, all of the Indiana Jones films for the whole way through. I haven't seen all of Star Wars, because I haven't seen the prequels, obviously.
Wow.
So I don't think I've ever...
And I had a plan to do the prequels at some point on this podcast as well, but that's a whole thing that we'll have to get into.
Well.
It's so doing the prequels is going to be that's a marathon, that's not a sprint. We will have to build up. We will have to do one after another. We will have to do them back to back to back.
What?
Yeah.
In one day?
No, not in one. No, I'm not a maniac. Like, I like Star Wars, but watching just the prequels in one day...
I don't think I could even do the first one
Like, I think
fully awake.
I think if you were doing all of the prequels in one day, you'd have to cut it with something in between. Like, you'd have to
there
do...
wouldn't be any time.
You'd have to do a little bit of Clone Wars, or maybe, like,
not
finish
Star
it off
Wars
with...
stuff.
Yeah.
Why would
You'd
you
have to-
carry on doing
well,
Star Wars stuff?
Because just to, like, as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, as a palate cleanser is something that you do that's completely different. You don't do more Star Wars stuff. You don't, like, eat loads and loads of pizza and then to make it seem a bit different, you have focaccia with tomato and cheese on it.
Well, alright. No, I guess not. I guess
You
not.
need something
Although...
different.
Although, depending who you ask, and yes, I might be one of them, I am an advocate of it, I would argue that Revenge of the Sith is the palate cleanser of the prequel trilogy. I'd say the way that Revenge of the Sith ends, that's the palate cleanser that reminds you, oh, actually, I do like the rest of Star Wars after this.
Oh.
So, with the end of that, you kind of go, oh, yeah, actually... It's taken the taste of Attack of the Clones out of my mouth now.
This joke's only for you because I don't understand. I haven't seen it.
Hey, this is a joke for anyone that has seen the prequels. Okay,
Yeah. I suppose that's quite a lot of people.
It is. You're one of the last people. So bad news for you. Not only have you had COVID, but you're also now going to watch the prequels.
No. We should have just done it at the same time, and then I would have been like,
Bad news for you. Well, that's a double blow, isn't it? So this is technically the first franchise we've completed on the podcast, but I don't know. I'm certain I can find a franchise that you've watched all of before this, but I'm just struggling to think of one.
I haven't even seen all the Iron Mans.
You definitely have.
Oh, no,
We've had this discussion because we watched Iron Man 2 and 3.
No, because I don't know if I should say this because it might be a spoiler.
For a film that was out nearly 10 years ago now.
No, I'm not talking about Iron Man. I'm talking about another one.
Okay.
Well, anyway, it's still been a long time. It doesn't matter because I don't know his name. So when that guy showed up in The Ring.
When that guy showed up, you know
What's
that The
this-
Ring isn't part of the Marvel franchise, right? That's a Japanese horror film.
Yeah. You know, what was the film called with Simu Liu again?
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi. That, like, actor guy
Wong?
turned up in... No. He had the...
Trevor
he had the
Slattery.
fluffy thing without... Yeah. When he showed up, I didn't know who he was.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think you did
So that's
because
what
we
I mean, I
watched
definitely
Iron
had
Man
to-
3
No,
together.
I know, we haven't.
We definitely did. We definitely watched Iron Man 3 because I prefer Iron Man 3 to Iron Man 2. So if I was given the choice out of watching either of them, it's that one that I would have watched.
Well, that's fine. You probably did watch that, but I wasn't there.
Okay. All right. If you're certain, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
I know that I haven't seen it because I didn't recognise any of the story. I didn't recognise that person when I saw him. I didn't know any of that.
I just know what you're like with remembering the Marvel movies.
No, because you
If you-
even
'cause
made
if you-
me
if
go
I-
back
if-
and watch the extra scene at the end or the bit, and I didn't I
Yep.
didn't remember any of it.
I'm relative. I would put money on the fact that we had watched that
Because
together.
I know
Because-
that Michael Rooney is in one of them, but I didn't know which one it is.
Michael Rooney, Mickey Rourke, Michael Rooney. I mean, this is exactly
I
the
said
reason.
Michael-
So this
no, I
is
know,
the
but I
reason
said-
why I'm convinced
Stop.
that you remember things differently to me, because you didn't even remember the actor's name.
Yeah,
I
which
know that
proves
this
I haven't
guy,
seen the
Michael
film then.
Rooney, is in one of them. So I'm so convinced that actually you have watched these films, but you just choose to forget them
No, I
because
don't.
you lose interest in like the first 20 minutes or
because
something.
I know that Black Widow is in one of them, but I haven't seen her in it. I haven't seen that. I've
It's
only
Iron Man
seen
2.
Iron Man 1.
We watched Iron Man 1 and one of the sequels before we watched Infinity War.
I wasn't there then. I didn't watch it the whole way through. I definitely
And I'm
wasn't.
relatively certain
Well,
that and here's why, and I'm relatively certain that it was Iron Man 3 we watched because you then said, because we were trying to figure out which one of them you hadn't watched, and you were like, oh, I think I haven't watched Iron Man 3. And we got halfway through Iron Man 3, and you said, when does the guy with the whips turn up? And I said, that's Iron Man 2. And you went, oh, that's the one I haven't watched. And I went, oh, okay.
No, but I haven't seen Iron Man 3 either.
Okay,
Well,
well,
all
alright.
Stop watching it.
Okay. I'm remembering more and more of the situation now. But, okay. So, we've completed a franchise now by going back to one of the franchises that started it all with The Karate Kid. And we are watching 1994's The Next Karate Kid, a film that we said we might not resort to watching because Daniel LaRusso isn't even in it, so it's not really about the Karate Kid.
No, you mean Johnny Lawrence isn't in it. So
Well,
it's
Johnny
not about
Lawrence
the
wasn't
Karate
in it.
Kid.
Johnny Lawrence technically, I don't know why they call the other ones the Karate Kid, because again, Johnny Lawrence didn't turn up in Karate Kid 2 or 3.
Kind of in 2 a little bit.
He was in 2 a little bit. I would have liked to have seen Johnny Lawrence turn up in Karate Kid Part 3 and cheer Daniel LaRusso on.
Oh, yeah!
That would have been the pinnacle of the trilogy that it needed. Just like Johnny Lawrence coming in last minute going, you know, John Kreese has taken it too far. He's got this guy Terry Silver, and I want to see Daniel LaRusso beat Cobra Kai now.
That's too much of like a character redemption for those films, though, isn't it?
A little bit. But the bad news...
Oh, I love it, though. I know that we're not talking about that at the moment, but yeah, how good would that be? I like Karate Kid 3 was only okay, I thought. Like it wasn't bad. It was okay. There were some parts that I was a bit like, oh, this has gotten a little bit long or a bit slow now. But Karate Kid 2 I actually really liked.
See, here's the thing. A lot of people, even though it made the most out of all of the Karate Kid films.
Well, number 2.
Yes. A lot of people kind of err on the side that Karate Kid 3 is story-wise the better film because it shows more character development in Daniel LaRusso. Like he gets kind of tempted into Cobra Kai and then realizes the error of his ways.
I just like number 2. Karate Kid 2, I mean.
Well, I was going to say that's a whole other subject that we're not going to go into. So, we are now finishing the franchise because after the next Karate Kid, there are definitely no other Karate Kid films or films that are called Karate Kid after this point, which is sad, really, because you would have thought that given enough of a budget and enough of a, you know, a big enough name actor behind it, that a reboot could really be the start of some new young kid's future career. But it's just a real shame that they never actually went down the path of doing any more reboots or resurgences of the Karate Kid until, of course, Cobra Kai came out.
Course, yeah.
So it's a little bit of a shame that after this film there are absolutely categorically no other films called The Karate Kid that we'll be able to watch.
Not even that one that was like the Kung Fu Kid, but was the Karate Kid.
I genuinely don't know
Kung Fu,
what
wasn't it?
film you're talking about. I genuinely don't know what film you're talking about there.
No.
It's very strange. I mean, maybe this is some weird kind of Mandela effect, but I mean, I've never heard of that film, which is a little bit of a shame. So, what we're going to be doing... Don't look at me like that. So, what we're going to be doing for this episode is we are going to be taking a look at the next Karate Kid, and we'll have a little bit of a talk about that. But we will also be doing, after that, our rundown, analysis, and kind of spoiler talk of Cobra Kai Season 5, which has been out long enough now that we can...
It's been out ages.
Yeah, we went through it very slowly because it's so easy in this day and age to binge series and just plow straight through it, and especially with the half-hour format that Cobra Kai is.
Yeah, right.
Cobra Kai has shorter episodes than any other series I am watching, and it's really annoying because I like to have a show that I can watch first thing in the morning with my coffee and breakfast, right?
Yeah.
And I like it to be like really short, like maybe 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
All right? Something short, easily digestible, that I don't have to spend, nearly a damn hour watching a whole episode of. Like your Walking Deads, like your Daredevil Season 3, like Sandman, all of these other series that I want to get through on things like Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. And they're so long. And in a world that is filled with series of episodes that are that long, that outstay their welcome for series that should have just stopped while they were still at Herschel's farm in Season 4. I'm talking exclusively about Walking Dead there. You got this glazed look on your eyes. That's Walking Dead.
I guessed, yeah.
Walking Dead should have ended quite a few series ago now. They are just dragging it out, and I'm actually... It's one of the few series that I've been so into that I'm now like, I'm glad it's coming to an end. Like, now is the time to end it.
I didn't think you were still watching it.
I am,
Just
yes.
stop. You should have just stopped.
I'm so close to the end now that I can just... It would be stupid to just stop right now and not watch the end, Yeah. But in a world where they exist, and all that we want is more Cobra Kai...
I know.
And all they do is tease us with the half-hour program format.
Why can't they make another film? If I could go to the cinema and watch them do a film, it would be the happiest day of my life.
Do you know what? They did announce recently that they are planning on doing a continuation of a Karate Kid franchise as a film.
Oh.
Right?
That doesn't sound promising.
What I'm thinking and what I'm praying for is that it actively ties into... They've said... It won't. But I hope that that's a bluff.
Probably won't.
I hope that it's a bluff, right? And I hope that actually it does tie into Cobra Kai. And then Cobra Kai will get the fabled 6 seasons and a movie.
So it's not supposed to be about Cobra Kai. What's it about? What's it about then?
I mean, no one knows. They've just said that they're going to do another film.
Cobra Kai, Karate Kid going to do another film.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like, oh, we're making a film and it's a kid and an Asian guy being.
No one knows. That's all. That is literally all they've said.
They don't need to redo it.
They've said we want to do another Karate Kid film. That's it. They haven't said this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to take. Nothing. That's it.
Well, I want it to be Cobra Kai the movie.
I hope it is.
Or Cobra Kai the series the movie.
I hope it is. I hope that the rest of season 5, right? Well, not the rest of season 5. Season 5 and then season 6, right, is building up this Senkai Taikai thing that they had to go to. And then the film, that's a little bit of a sampling of what we're going to be talking about in our Cobra Kai talk, which we're going to do later on. So, if you have not seen season 5 of Cobra Kai, or do not want to hear any spoilers, go away, watch the series, tune back in at the end of this episode, and we will let you know when we are going to be doing that. But for the time being, we are going to be talking about the next Karate Kid, the film that was meant to start another part of the Karate Kid franchise.
Oh, they were supposed to carry it on after this.
I got the impression that because this film ends so abruptly that they had a plan on doing more after this. because there was so little that was explained.
Yeah, what happens at the end? She just says, oh, he just says, like, fight to win. And that was it.
Yeah, he says if you...
Bye.
Yeah, that was it. He just winks down the camera
if you have
lens.
to fight to win.
That's, yeah, little nuggets of wisdom from Mr. Miyagi there.
This film was weird. I'm sorry, but it was. I think I've seen this film before. And...
So I thought I had as well, but I think that there's a huge chunk in the middle that I just hadn't seen for some reason.
Yeah, no,
no
that's what I
idea.
had seen.
Because the whole part of
I
her
don't
being
think
at
I'd
the
seen
monastery,
end properly.
the whole part of her being at the monastery, I never realised was part of the film.
Oh, well, you haven't seen that bit then.
So I've obviously seen like the beginning and the end, and just assumed that he was at her house looking after her and teaching her karate the whole time.
Nope.
A la the first Karate Kid, but it's a girl. This whole film is centered around, it's essentially exactly the same as Karate Kid and Karate Kid Part 2. Because she goes to a monastery filled with monks that don't speak the same language as her, right? Fine. So she feels like a fish out of water in that situation. Granted. So this is basically Karate Kid and Karate Kid Part 2.
In one
but the
film.
twist is, she's a girl. That's the whole premise of the film. She's a girl.
Is, there's no karate.
There is karate.
When?
He is teaching her karate because he's teaching her the whole leaping off of the rock thing.
Right, yeah, but when do you see him actually teaching her to do that?
Well, I mean, and again, this is the thing.
The film was like an hour 45. I had to wait an hour and a half to see even one bit of karate.
But they established towards the start that she already knew some karate.
Why is she so rubbish at it then?
Well, I mean, she's obviously not because she wins.
I don't know, but I don't think it. She didn't win. She barely won. That guy literally just sat on the floor and let her do it. He didn't get up and try and fight her. She wasn't fighting anyone, was she? She had enough time to sit down on one knee and breathe in, praying for like 4 seconds before she actually hit him.
She did the cool like leg hold, like axe kick thing. That was quite cool.
I know, but how long did it take for it to get to that part?
Well, I mean, an hour and 40.
And how long's the film?
An hour and 40.
Right, so why is it left until the end then?
Because that's the fight scene.
No, but Karate Kid had fight scenes the whole way through the film.
Yeah, that is. Do you know what? That is true.
You didn't wait till the last 10 minutes to see him actually doing karate. Make any sense?
Yeah. So this is the thing. I feel like Hilary Swank, Julie, her character, is not actually the main character of this film. I feel like this is actually a film where Mr. Miyagi is the main character.
I know, but even he wasn't really doing it like enough to be the main character. There wasn't enough of anything.
Because here's the way I approach the film, okay? In a writing perspective, it's said that there's only ever 3, 4, 5 different cruxes of a storyline that ever existed, right? One of them is fish out of water. This is a fish out of water film, but it's Mr. Miyagi that is the fish out of water because he's never had to look after like a teenage daughter type figure before. So he is the one who is learning throughout the film. All Hilary Swank's character does, as far as character development, is learn to deal with her anger and her pain of having lost family members and her parents, right? And the way that she does that isn't through learning karate, it's through basically learning life lessons in a monastery about respecting life and, you know, how life functions. She basically learns life cannot exist without death. death is not fair to anyone. It's unrelenting. So do something with your life to give it purpose. That could have been condensed down to 5 minutes and then have been taught more karate.
Yeah, so the whole film is about that and that story and that whatever lesson. Fine. But why is it called The Karate Kid then? The next Karate Kid. Why has it even got karate in the title?
Like, this is what we're trying to figure
Just
out
call it
here.
The Kid, I don't know.
The Kid. I mean, she does fight. She does know karate.
Does she though? Because I didn't see any evidence of that.
Oh, all right. You're I mean, I can't tell if it's just that you really don't like Hilary Swank.
No, I'm not bothered by that. I think actually maybe she couldn't do karate. And they just had to try and find a way to put her in the film without her knowing how to do it. Maybe they thought, oh yeah, she's good because she seems athletic and she can like throw herself about. And then when she actually got down to filming the fight scenes, it didn't work. And they just had to go, oh, we'll do it for the last couple of minutes and no one will notice.
So would you like a little bit of, is the trivia worth the time that ties into what you were saying about that?
Are you going to tell me that she knows karate? Well, she knows 5 moves in karate. That's like, you can't prove anything else.
There is a little bit of trivia here that says the fight choreographers gave Hilary Swank a pink belt for her mastery of the most flashy techniques, but none of the basics.
There we go. She can lift her leg up above her head and smash it down, but she can't actually do karate.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So he obviously knew that he wasn't going to get Hilary Swank to do all of the chores that he usually gets Daniel to do.
Yeah.
So within the first 10 minutes of the film, he sent her grandmother back home to do all the chores for him.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
It's
I've got a
Mr.
Californian house that's empty for 2 weeks. It's not empty for 2 weeks. You're just going there.
Like,
It wasn't empty like he had 2 of them and one of them didn't have anyone living in it.
is
He
Mr.
just
Miyagi
moved out of his
actually
own
a
house.
con artist?
Yeah.
That it's just, he just really doesn't want to do any housework, and he has to go all of the way to Boston to get someone to go to his house and clean it and water his plants and paint his fence.
Yeah, and it was weird that she was like...
He's going to go back to his house, and the grandma is going to know more about karate than she does.
Yeah.
He'll have left her notes all around the house: paint fence, up down, paint house, side side.
Yeah.
He'll go back, he'll fight the grandma, and she'll know karate. Grandma should have been there, fighting the guys at the end.
Grandma actually should have been there, though, in all
Yeah.
fairness. I don't understand what she was playing at, just going off to a different end of the country for 2 weeks while her granddaughter was living, like, the most important parts of her life and left her with an Asian man that she didn't really know.
No.
Like, so what? Her husband ages ago said that they were friends. You don't know anything about him.
This guy could be anyone.
Yeah, he could literally be anyone. You don't know what dodgy things he got up to when they knew each other. But, oh, you leave him with the child, that's fine.
I mean, I guess if you're like that much of a close family friend, then fine. But it's literally the first time that she's ever met him.
Yeah, and she's like 14.
Yeah.
So they haven't seen each other in 14 years at least.
Yeah. I just like, how was like babysitting the neighbours' kids practice for karate?
I don't know.
See, here's the thing. I think that even though they were trying to use this film to kind of launch the next part of a franchise and revive the franchise, this came out I want to say 4
way too
years
late.
after the Karate Kid Part 3. I feel like there's so much that got cut from this film
Yeah.
that would add explanations to things.
Yeah.
Like, what is the whole deal with these elite military guys at the school?
Yeah, at a school.
Like, so what school has that as a program, as, you know, in the syllabus, in the curriculum, that isn't an actual military school?
I don't know. I thought it was just guys' gym, and the gym teacher was just a bit aggressive.
No, the way that they build it up is that they're an elite, like, training to be in the military.
Yeah, and why are people
kind of
letting
group.
a man literally hit a child, like, all the time, constantly beating up kids?
Yeah.
Why are they letting him
How
do
has
that?
this not been brought up to the PTA?
Well, yeah,
You
I
know?
don't know.
How are the parents of these kids not going like, oh, why have you got like bruises all across your face and arms?
Yeah,
Oh,
every day.
my military teacher beat the living crap out of me at practice today.
He's like, what,
Because
what
he
do you mean
wanted-
practice?
Well, basically, he got us to form a circle around him, and everyone tried to beat the crap out of him, and he basically turned it around and beat the crap out of us instead. Wait, what? Sorry, your teacher basically beat you to a bloody pulp,
Yeah.
and the school allows this?
Yeah, they didn't care.
Yeah.
I think I get what they're trying to do. It's that whole thing of, oh, there's another authority figure that's being dangerous to a group of children that are then going to turn into... It's like the Cobra Kai thing all over again, obviously.
Yeah.
But they took it too far.
Yeah, and
he
see,
took
this-
it too far.
Right.
And then nothing ever really happened with him. It just, at the end, Mr. Miyagi punched him about a little bit, and then that was that. He wasn't like, oh, I've seen the error of my ways, because it wasn't long enough for him to turn around like that. It was
No.
too short. So then what happened to him at the end? He just got a bit of a dirty face.
Yeah, he just, like, he got beaten in a fight by someone twice his age and half his size. And it's just like, okay, fine, that's happened, but does this guy still have his job? Because no one is actually saying that they're going to report him for it.
No.
You know, they blew up a car.
Well, they let him bungee jump in the middle of the hall.
Yeah.
Like
So
I
what
said.
school is allowing this? What school is allowing blatant endangerment of their students, bungee jumping inside of... and they were full bungee cords as
I
well.
know. That wasn't ever real, because they could never have been short enough. If they were full size, they would have been way too long.
I feel like there's scenes throughout this film that explain more of the presence that they have at the school, why they're there, why the teacher is getting them to do these things, like what the teacher's deal is. Because all we know for sure is that the teacher is just an a-hole. That's all we know.
But that's probably
It's
why
not-
the other teachers didn't try and stop him, because he's just going to do it to them anyway.
It's not like John Kreese where within the first film, within like 10 minutes, we know he is ex-military, fought in Vietnam, clearly has some sense of PTSD from being in the war because the military taught him to be ready and show no mercy to your enemies.
Yeah, so he thinks that he's doing the right thing.
And he thinks he's doing the right thing. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, that other guy on this film thinks he's doing the right thing as well, but it's just a bit more... It's just a bit too far.
See, all I got was that he wants to prove that he is the strongest and best person
So then
there is.
Why is he getting the kids to fight then? Why isn't he fighting all the
And
time?
but he's trying to make them as good as he is.
Hmm.
That's all that.
Yeah, but he's not even good.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying. Whenever you watch these films, they always like pick on the kids because the kids are weak and can't win a fight and can't. Oh, you don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. Well, you're the one that's teaching them all of these things. So if you were a good teacher, they would know how to do it. So it's actually your problem, not theirs.
Yeah.
You would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like if you'd been a maths teacher, if you'd been teaching this kid maths for like the past 2 years and they still didn't know maths, that's not their fault. That's your fault for being
Yeah.
a bad teacher.
If you keep encountering the same problems with your students, maybe you're the problem, pal.
Yeah. If they're not good enough at fighting and you're supposed to be teaching them fighting, maybe you're not teaching them well enough.
Yeah.
That's not their issue.
But I did like when the guy said, you know, I'd fight for my family. I'd fight to defend myself, but I'm not gonna fight you just so you can prove how bigger than me you
Yeah.
are. I liked that. I was like, oh, okay, like,
Yeah, that guy
someone's
was alright.
actually pointing it out.
I mean, he looked like he was in his 50s, but yeah, he was fine.
Yeah, why does everyone in this school look so old? Like, all of the guys that are in this, I forget what they're even called. They're called, like, Elite Alpha or something.
I didn't even hear that. I don't even know.
Which is like, surely I think that's what some trolls online would probably call themselves. Like, oh yeah, I'm Elite Alpha. Like,
Yeah, people
I get
that
it.
hate women.
Yeah, exactly, right? Why do they all look like they are Italian Americans from the Bronx that are like 35 years old?
I know. I know, it's terrible.
So weird. It's so weird.
We interrupt this show to bring you a brief word from our sponsors.
Amber, I would like to tell you about Greenbird gift baskets. Cool, you're interested?
Interested.
Excellent, I'm glad you said that, because Greenbird Gift Baskets is a small local business based in Southampton offering gourmet gift baskets beautifully hand-wrapped in biodegradable cellophane. They use products from small local businesses wherever they can and are perfect gifts for weddings, birthdays, baby showers, or simply as a thank you.
We are passionate about supporting small local businesses who offer delicious products and share our values on sustainability. There is a selection of baskets available online, Greenbird gift baskets at square.site, and all baskets are totally customisable for dietary needs and tastes.
Greenbird gift baskets offer sweet, savoury and mixed baskets as well as picnic boxes, and prices start from just £25 for a gift basket. Amber, they can even add wine or fizz for an extra special touch.
Collection is available from Southampton, or they can deliver to surrounding areas, so visit Greenbird gift baskets at square.site and check them out on Facebook and Instagram at Greenbird gift baskets.
Oh, and make sure to tell them that Back to the Revuture sent you, yeah?
And now we return to your regularly scheduled programming.
So, another little bit of is the trivia worth the time? The Karate Kid, 1984, made $90.8 million.
Oh.
Yeah. The Karate Kid Part 2 grossed $115.1
Wow.
million. And it's the most that the franchise has made. So
Right.
that is the highest grossing film out of the franchise.
That's a shame because then you go, oh, number one was really good. Everyone's going to go and see number two because of how good number one was. And then it's like, oh, number two wasn't as good. I won't bother seeing number three.
Well, funny you say that because The Karate Kid Part 3 in 1989, so 5 years before the next Karate Kid, earned $38.9 million,
Oh,
which was
terrible.
the lowest grossing out of the
Yeah.
franchise. The studio was keen to continue the franchise, though this film's $8.9 million take effectively killed the
next
prospects.
Karate Kid you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
Effectively killed the prospects of any
I'm
further
surprised that
films.
many people watched it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's like you're watching half a film. It's like you're watching a film, you've fallen asleep, and you've woken up, and you're like, oh, where's the rest of the film?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This is also... The runtime of this film is an hour 45-ish.
Yeah.
This is the shortest Karate Kid film.
Is it?
Yes.
Feels like the longest.
It did feel like we were watching it for a while.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? So this is why I feel like there was so much that was cut from this film, because they made some weird choices over what parts to include and what parts to focus on throughout the film. Because there's this really long extended part in the middle where you're following them at the monastery,
Yeah.
like Julie and Mr. Miyagi, and it doesn't cut back to anything else that is happening for a really long time. Like, there's one part where you basically get the guy Eric, his like leaving of that group, because the guy says if you go take the phone call from your mum,
Yeah, that's it. You're
I was
done.
like, oh, it's a phone call from his mum. Like, why are you being so harsh? Gets there, turns out it's Julie. Oh, great, thanks. Screwed up all future prospects for him now, haven't you? Damn it.
But he realised that the group that he was a part of wasn't healthy anyway, so he wanted to be out. So that was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was alright.
So that fact does go on to say that the 2010 remake took in 117.8 million at the box office, but I don't know what film they're talking about there, because there definitely isn't another film that is called The Karate Kid, so it's very strange. So I don't know what statistics that film is relating to, which is very strange. So another bit of is the trivia worth the time?
Okay.
Before we round it out, so that we can do our talk about Cobra Kai and get back to what's important, which is Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I know? Because that's the right answer.
That is the right answer. So, this is it, and this does tie in nicely. Before his passing in 2005, Pat Morita conceived a potential fifth Karate Kid film.
Was it about his strippers and blow parties?
He's going out in style. Mr. Miyagi has decided that in his twilight years of his life, he's
That's
going to
what
go
he did, though,
out.
wasn't it? Wasn't that what he did?
Was it?
Oh, I thought you were the one that told me that.
What?
That Mr. Miyagi, like in real life, was a real proper womanizer, and he spent all of his money that he earned from doing the films on like gambling, women, like booze.
Oh, that might have been something that we covered in trivia, but I don't remember what film out of the franchise it was where we talked about that. I think it was because we were talking about how Pat Morita in his earlier life, before the Karate Kid films, he was actually a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, but I really thought that when he got all of the money from, like, unexpectedly, not rich, but, you know, unexpectedly kind of better off from doing the Karate Kid films, I thought he went nuts.
Yeah,
I genuinely thought that I'd heard that.
Well, you probably might have heard that, but I don't know if you heard that from me. But then again, we've established what your memory is like for remembering situations of things that you might have seen or heard, and whether it's me or not that you heard or saw it with. I mean, I'm just saying,
I actually think it's the other way around, that you should be pointing that comment at yourself and not me.
All I'm saying is I have a very vivid photographic picture in my head of us watching Iron Man 3. That's all.
Well,
I
you're
can
the one
say.
that's wrong then, because you're picturing it with me and it was someone else, obviously.
Obviously wasn't. I don't watch films with anyone else. Before that was meant to be a nice
I didn't
thing.
know you when
though.
Iron Man 3 was out.
Yeah, I know. Before his passing in 2005, Pat Morita conceived a potential fifth Karate Kid film, which would have had a dying Mr. Miyagi training Johnny Lawrence, who now works as a doctor into his peaceful karate arts so Johnny can find balance on his life before Miyagi passes away and gets sent to Okinawa so he can be buried there. The concept never got off the ground, but it seems that a part of it has been revived for an episode of Cobra Kai.
What? We haven't seen that.
I imagine that this was part of the trivia that got added around when Cobra Kai first started.
Oh, but that didn't happen though, did it?
Well, no.
No. I mean in Cobra Kai.
Yeah. No, it obviously didn't. No. It said it
so I'm
seems that
wondering
part of it has been revived for an episode of Cobra Kai, which is
Oh,
probably
that would have been nice.
which is probably the bit where Johnny Lawrence is trained in karate and finding balance of his life from Daniel LaRusso. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been nice. That would have been a nice film. I would have liked that.
That would have been really cool.
I'm sad about that now.
Oh, also, another really strange fact, which is just weird. This is the only film in the series in which Mr. Miyagi does not appear in the final frame of the movie before the credits begin. However,
Begin.
However, he does appear in the last frame of the scene that transitions into the scene that plays before the credits. So it's just like, oh, okay, right. So we had to have that last bit of the hawk flying in the air by the sea.
Right, yeah, because we had to, yeah.
Yeah, instead of Mr. Miyagi being in the last frame to carry on the tradition. Clearly.
Well, I mean, there were parts of it that weren't too bad. I quite liked him going to the dress shop to try and find a dress. That was kind of funny and sweet. And, like, you know, there were bits that were kind of... I mean, a lot of it was terrible. But things like that weren't too bad.
See, here's the thing. I got worried at some points that this was going to become, like, a little bit of a farce. Because Mr. Miyagi seems so awkward about looking after a teenage girl, and like there was so much. This is why I said like he's the fish out of water in this situation. So this is why he is like the main character of this film and not Julie. You know, I was worried at some point that it was going to become a whole farce.
Yeah,
like they were going to think, oh, he's in there buying a dress for himself. So they're gonna start like saying, okay, well we're gonna take your measurements, and he's gonna be like, oh, okay, these American customs are very strange. Like, why are you taking my measurements for blah 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 blah? Blah. And they're like, well, we're gonna get you to try on the dress, and he's like, oh, yeah, I thought it was gonna go down that route, but it's like, you know, it's just. It's a case of, well, who are you buying it for?
I mean,
okay.
I'm glad that
what
it wasn't
kind of
like that.
Yeah,
that would have been really annoying. But I mean, he really hates fighting, and he gets into a lot of fights for some reason. How that happens to him, I don't know. People just want to fight him all the time. Don't really understand that.
For someone that is very insistent on avoiding fights,
yeah, he gets into a lot of fights.
More people than Julie does.
Yeah, but he's constantly saying don't fight, and then sends her to babysit children that are clearly a bit rambunctious, and then he's like, here you go, here's loads of stuff to throw at them. Oh, I thought you didn't want me fighting, and you didn't want me to be on the attack. Oh yeah, but this is different, you can fight them. Oh, okay. What?
And also, we never actually see her do any of the homework that she promised him she would do.
We don't see her do anything.
I suppose that's one of those scenes that got left on the cutting room floor, along with all of the other explanations of things in this film.
I suppose, yeah.
More
just
holes in the plot than Swiss cheese.
Yeah, just leaving the music on when she goes out. Nobody thinks to get up and tell her to turn the music down, or go into her room to turn the music down, and then realise that she's not there. They have to wait until the fire engine and 3 police cars turn up to the school, and then they tell them. Like the bird gets taken to an animal shelter. Well, that's fine, just leave it there.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do anything harmful to the bird. They gave it to people that could actually look after it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good thing, isn't it? That's the opposite of bad, I would say.
And then all she does is take it out and set it free.
Like, she just goes into the animal shelter and goes, oh yeah, I'm here to pick up my bird. What bird? You know, the hawk. Why is that yours? Oh, I just found it in the road. They wouldn't just let her take that out, would they?
I have no idea.
And she's like, yeah, but I've got the glove. I've got loads of raw meat.
I love that they had to put ADR of an animal that clearly isn't a hawk over the hawk being in the scene, so that you know that it's there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird. It was weird.
It was
like,
making like
some
squeaks
nice
and
moments,
chirps.
but
that,
yeah, like sparrow noises.
Yeah, I'm like that's not a hawk.
Maybe he'd eaten a sparrow, and that's what was making the noise.
Maybe. I did think that in that scene where she lets it go, there was another bird fly. I was like, oh, he's going to immediately eat that bird.
That one's done.
That one is done.
It's, yeah, it just doesn't fill me with the same excitement and vibes and mood as all the other Karate Kid films, you know? It doesn't get me hyped and like...
No.
There's just not the same feeling that I get when I watch it. So it doesn't feel like a Karate Kid film to me, because I know that people thought that Mr. Miyagi was like the legend of the Karate Kid series. That's fine, but I never watched the Karate Kid films to watch him, because I actually thought he was a little bit annoying. So given the fact that this was a film, the only part that was like reoccurring was him, and I'm not really interested in him, it didn't really like do anything for me, to be honest.
I think that the idea behind the whole concept of it was, we want to make a film that is gonna get a new target audience in, and we want girls to be able to see someone in the Karate Kid centric role as like a strong, powerful girl, like young girl, who can do things equally as good as guys twice her size can.
Yeah.
But also is like edgy and relevant and sort of relatable and, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
In the way that Daniel LaRusso was for scrawny kids that had to move across the country and weren't fitting in, you know,
The good old
for the
days of
first
Karate
Karate Kid.
Kid.
Yeah. 100%.
So it's just a bit sloppy. And oh, go and meet Mr. Miyagi. You haven't ever met him before. Go and meet him. Okay, fine. Hi. No, go and meet him properly. Why are you always like this? Why are you always like this, Sarah, or whatever? Sarah's not me. Sarah's dead. My mum and dad are dead because they died in a car accident and they're dead. They died in a car accident, everyone. Listen to me.
That was like the most heavy-handed bit of script writing I think I might have ever seen in my
I'm
life.
Julie. That was my mum, and my mum and dad died in a car accident together. I have no parents now.
I was desperately trying this whole time to remember what it was that I was thinking of at the start. Like, I've got to remember to mention that because it's so funny, and I couldn't for the life of me remember what it was this whole time. And you just reminded me, like, the exposition.
I know,
dump
it didn't have to be like that, did it? It could have been like,
literally
like
didn't
the
have to be
grandmother
that way.
could have spoken to Mr. Miyagi and said, "Oh, she's been having real terrible problems since her parents died in that car accident," and that would have been like an easier way
That would have been
to round it off instead of her being like, "No, that's not me. That's my mum, and my mum and dad are dead."
The whole conversation could have been, it seems like you're having trouble with your granddaughter. Well, yeah, I have, since she's had to move in with me permanently. Oh, why has she had to move in with you permanently? Well, her parents died around a year ago in a car accident. It was very unfortunate, but obviously she hasn't taken it well, and she's living with me now, and we don't really see eye to eye, and
I mean,
it's
that's
a
a
problem.
bit long, but yeah, I
but
get what you
like
mean.
literally, it could have been like, oh, why are you having so many problems?
Conversation. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess they wanted to like put across the fact that he knew the family, so he already would have known that happened, so he wouldn't have asked. Oh, but I mean, it's still a natural conversation for somebody to say, "Oh, sorry, you know, ever since her parents died, she's been having these problems."
Yeah.
Even if he did know that, it's still a natural way to say this is why she's having those issues, and then move on.
Yeah.
It's like, it was so weird.
It's just like, rather than like her announcing stuff that everyone in the room would have already known.
Shouting at everyone. It's like, okay, yeah, all right.
Amber, you don't understand. My name is Drew and I like films and talking about films and recording films, okay?
Okay.
Just in case you didn't know what this podcast was about.
Yeah, well.
Okay, so I think we should give the next Karate Kid a rating. So for those that might be new to this show, if you are just joining us, if you're one of our new listeners, hello. If you're one of our existing listeners, hello. We treat everyone equally here. Every episode, the person that hasn't seen the film, and I think we can count this as both of us because you kind of...
Yeah, I hadn't seen the end of it.
and I hadn't seen the middle bit. So I think we can kind of count this as both of us. We either have to count this as both of us having seen the film, but doing it for the sake of the podcast for the Cobra Kai episode, or not having seen the film, which gives us a reason to do it.
Yeah, you
Cobra
hadn't
Kai.
really seen the film, had you? So
No, that's a whole chunk. I had seen, I think, the first 25 minutes to half an hour of this film, and then I think I've seen the last 15 minutes of the film.
right.
And then I think I might have
So
seen...
it's like an hour that you haven't seen.
I think I might have seen like a 10-minute section in the middle, because there was some bit that I saw that I was like, why do I remember this bit out of all of it for some reason? I don't know. So, yeah, a majority of this film
Yeah.
was relatively new to me. And, you know, for someone who's a really big fan of Karate Kid, you'd think I would have seen it.
Yeah, but you just know how bad it is before you even start. So what's the point?
I mean, maybe there was just, like, very little interest in it. And
Yeah.
from what I can remember, when I saw sort of trailers for it on VHS copies of Karate Kid and stuff like that, because in VHS copies, they always have trailers for, like,
Yeah,
the
at the
films that
start,
follow
yeah.
this one,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I distinctly remember pretty much the entire end fight sequence being in the trailer of the next Karate Kid.
Yeah, probably.
And it's basically just like a couple of shots of her looking like she's learning or practicing karate in the bit behind the waterfall,
Yeah.
right? And then the end bit,
Yeah, because
and
people
that's
actually
the trailer.
thought that they were getting karate in the film,
And they weren't.
and they weren't. So false advertising.
They were getting Hilary Swank learning about valuing life.
Yeah.
So, as we do every episode, the person that hasn't seen the film, which in this case is both of us, gets to give the film a rating, but every episode, what the rating is out of changes. So, with that in mind, Amber, what are you going to give the next Karate Kid, and what is it going to be out of?
Well, spoiler alert, I didn't really like this film very much.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 2.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm gonna give it 2 bungee cords.
2 bungee cords.
Yeah, I didn't really know what else to do.
Okay.
There isn't even a standout part of the film that you can give it. Like,
Really?
oh, there was the bowling part, which was quite funny actually.
Yeah, that bowling part was
I
weird.
liked the monks. Like that was good.
Yeah, this, and then again, that was another reason why I was worried it was going to turn into a farce.
Yeah, because they were a little bit like that.
Because the whole thing of them being out of the monastery for the first time in however long
Yeah.
was a little bit like
25 years.
Yeah, I was like, that's a little bit of a fuss. Like, how do they know bowling? And he just explains,
Well,
oh,
they
it's Zen
don't.
bowling.
He just does. Yeah, they probably bowl at the monastery.
I mean, they got to do something to pass the time, surely. They can't
Yeah.
all be like doing the sand Zen
All the
garden
time,
stuff
yeah.
all the time. But then again, maybe. You know? So I'm going to agree with your 2, and it's weird because I think that's the lowest rating that I've given.
Yeah, I've given low
something.
things before, but
Here's the thing: you've given films 2 out of 5 before because there was stuff in the film that you just, it was probably for comedy films that you just didn't enjoy.
yeah.
It was just films that really didn't land with you. And it's weird that you're giving this one a 2 out of a franchise that you really do like for reasons that are basically the writing in it was not that great.
Yeah,
And
it's just not a great
it
film.
felt less like a Karate Kid film than it should have been.
Yeah.
Which is why I was suspicious that it might be the start of a franchise.
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah.
this is them meeting each other, getting used to, like, how the other person works. And there's going to be other films, which is also them as
Yeah.
well. But then they obviously scrap the whole thing. I'm going to give it 2 as well. I think I'm going to give it 2 cockroaches. Because she nearly killed the cockroach, and then all of the monks.
She shouldn't have. Well, she never would have killed it if she'd hit it over the top like that anyway. I thought you were supposed to flip him over.
I don't know.
Because it's the shell. The shell is like indestructible. So if you try and bash it on its back with the shell in the middle of it, it never ever is going to die. You have to
Wow.
flip it over and do it on its. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that wow? I mean, yeah, hey, you learn something new every day.
I've never tried it, and I wouldn't do it. And I'm not saying kill an animal or an insect or whatever, but I'm just saying she never would have killed it like that anyway.
No, I mean, I mean, here's the thing. They said in this film that, you know, you should learn to respect all life. All life has meaning, you know, even insect life or whatever. And yeah, I'm the same. Like I came up the stairs the other day and you were like, there's a spider on the stairs. It's looking at me.
It felt like it was looking at me.
It was looking at me. I was like, I'll put it outside. Spiders are a useful part of the ecosystem. Just put them outside. Don't
Yeah,
squash
fine.
them. Poor things. You know how difficult it is to make one of those? Honestly.
Well, there's literally hundreds, so it doesn't seem like there's that difficult.
Wow. So, there you have it. The next Karate Kid gets 2 from each of us. But what do you all out there think of the next Karate Kid? Do you think that it's a worthy continuation of the franchise and that actually you would have liked to have seen some more from Hilary Swank being the next Karate Kid? Or is it not the Karate Kid without Daniel LaRusso? Or, more importantly, Johnny Lawrence, the real Karate Kid? All of these opinions and more can be sent to us via our social medias. I am at Drew Bridger.
At Amber Inch.
And make sure to use the hashtag BTTRpod so that we know when we are being talked about on the internet. Amber, if the listeners have enjoyed this episode and are hopefully staying tuned to hear all about our opinions of Cobra Kai Season 5, what else should they do?
Like, subscribe, and review on your podcast service and rate 5 stars. Also, follow BTTR Podcast on Insta.
Absolutely do that. And if we do get some reviews coming in on podcast apps of whatever it is that you are listening to us on, we may well read them out. If we get a couple of reviews coming in saying some nice things about us that warms our cold, dead hearts, we might just read them out. So you never know. There's an incentive for you. But until our next episode, we are going to temporarily leave you, and then when we come back, don't miss us too much, because we're going to be right back talking about Cobra Kai Season 5, and we are going to be talking heavy spoilers, maybe even some theories about what might be happening in the next season of Cobra Kai as well. So, now is your opportunity to pause this show, go and watch all of Cobra Kai Season 5. It'll only take you 5 and a bit hours, maybe. Around 5 hours. That's scheduling in a couple of pee breaks and some pausing to go and get some snacks and stuff. But you've spent longer than that watching, like Lord of the Rings or something. So why not do it for something good? Ooh, controversial opinion there, I know, right? So, go away, watch Cobra Kai Season 5, come back and pick up where you left off. And we'll see you in a second. Okay, and you are joining us back again now for our talk on Cobra Kai Season 5. So, if you were listening to the episode and you haven't seen Cobra Kai Season 5 and you don't want spoilers, this is your last opportunity, because we are going to be talking spoilers for Cobra Kai Season 5 and possibly what the future of karate in the valley might look like. Because, as the old saying goes, if you don't know karate, stay the hell out of the valley.
That's what you were going to say. As the old saying goes, history repeats itself.
So history does repeat itself quite a few times in this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, Season 5 of Cobra Kai, lots of stuff happened. And after Season 4, there was a lot of stuff that I don't really think that I could have called happening, really. Because I didn't...
You always kind of know where it's headed in a certain way, though. You always know with Cobra Kai kind of what you're going to get. Like, there's going to be a twist, but you do kind of see it happening. Like,
yeah,
and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because they do it a little bit on purpose, so that you kind of think, oh yeah, I called that,
Yeah, a little bit. Like there were moments that during Season 3 and Season 4, you're kind of like, oh, it would be really cool if we could actually see Miguel and Robbie getting along, because it's like, yeah, sure, they're the big rivalry, and at this point, Cobra Kai has gone on so long that everyone has now been on both sides of the equation. Like, Miguel's been in Cobra Kai, and Hawk's been in Cobra Kai, and they've also both been in Miyagi-Do, and they've also both been in Eagle Fang. So, like, everyone has played on every team at this point. So it's like, I think everyone is kind of at one point like, oh yeah, I remember being in Cobra Kai as well. They said this and they said that. And they were like, wait, when were you in Cobra Kai? Oh yeah, it was before you got here. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think there were a few moments like that happened throughout. It's like, oh yeah, that person was in Cobra Kai at one point. So I found that kind of funny. But I mean, the big plot points of this series were John Kreese in prison, obviously. Tori coming to terms with the fact that the referee got bribed.
Yeah.
Daniel LaRusso basically having a ninja assassin work with him.
Yeah.
You know? And getting his ass kicked all over town.
Who
And,
did?
well, Daniel LaRusso got kicked about quite a lot in this. I think the only time that Daniel LaRusso was actually winning a fight was in the last episode.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
He got kicked about
and
a
he
lot.
he actually this time really tried not to fight.
Yeah.
I know I said, like, in the next Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi always says that there's no point in fighting. He doesn't like fighting, only fight when you have to, but literally looks like he goes out to fight every 2 minutes. But Daniel genuinely this time looked like he wasn't trying to go out for a fight.
Yeah. Like, the way you phrased it was, for someone that talks about not fighting, he seems to get into more fights than most people I know.
Yeah.
You were like, I don't have the policy of not getting into fights, and I've never been in a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, huh, that's a strange way of thinking about it, I suppose. But, and then, obviously, the big plot point of the film, well, I mean, I suppose another one right at the start was Miguel finding his father.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I thought was going to be a much bigger deal. And I'm wondering if that is actually going to be something that makes a resurgence at some point.
I don't know, because I feel like that was just kind of like a short, necessary thing to get the Miguel, Robbie, Johnny thing off the ground.
Dynamic.
So it's like he's realised that the person that's actually been there for him and stepped up doesn't have to be his birth dad, it can be him.
Yeah.
And he realizes like what that guy put his mum through, what he's like,
That he
doesn't want
care.
him in his life anyway.
Yeah.
So he may as well just stick to the people that actually want him there and have put up an effort and fight for him
Yeah.
instead of like that guy.
It was kind of heartbreaking on his behalf, really, because it's the bit where he says that he gave up everything and gave up, you know, his family and his roots and everything like that for the sake of his business and what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he said, and I felt absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I don't care
And,
really.
and he didn't care. And I was like, that's actually kind of pretty
But,
heartbreaking.
I mean, that is like, that must feel bad when they say that to you. But at the same time, he can kind of think to himself, he wasn't old enough for his dad to even know him at that point. So it's not like his dad had grown up with him. He got to like 12 or 13 and then went, oh yeah, I just left you and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he's
Yeah.
known him for a long time and then gone, no, you meant nothing to me, whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that like he didn't even know him to know whether he liked him or not anyway. So, I mean, that would make you feel a little bit
Yeah.
better, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
She'd be like, well, it's not because of him. It wasn't like his personality or something that he did or how he is that his dad found it easy to leave him. He didn't even know him because he wasn't
Yeah.
even barely a person yet.
I suppose for him, it's like, oh, it had nothing to do with me that he left.
Yeah.
And my mum was trying to tell me the
She
whole
was
time,
right the whole time, yeah.
he was a dangerous person. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. Like, that's great that you have that closure, but it is obviously still like, upsetting for him.
Oh yeah, it's
But
upsetting, but I mean, it just would like make me feel slightly better the fact that I wasn't old enough for him to even
remember,
like make an opinion on me. or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. So it's nothing to do, which in a way is like, if it was something to do with him, at least that would give him more reason to dislike him afterwards, I guess.
suppose,
but
but
I mean,
I just feel like you would find
Yeah.
it like a cleaner break if somebody that you didn't really know anyway was like, oh yeah, I know, I didn't feel anything for leaving, and you'd go, right, well that's just got to be behind me then because he doesn't
yeah,
care.
exactly. Yeah, I suppose so. But then I think the biggest point of this series is Johnny Lawrence. Baby Johnny Lawrence.
No, not baby Johnny Lawrence.
Well, it could. Well, okay, it could be baby Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence Jr. JLJ. JLJR.
Oh no.
JL Jr.
No. Stop.
Okay, all right. But everything's coming up Johnny at the moment. Johnny's getting his life together.
I was happy about that.
Yeah, because it's like, and I understand how characters have to evolve over seasons. Like, I get that, but I was also wondering like how long they were going to push Johnny having things go wrong for him, having him be the underdog, having him be the fallout.
Yeah.
You know, like Johnny's got to get a win at some point. And I feel like out of all of the seasons of Cobra Kai, this was the one, ironically, that focused the least on Johnny Lawrence, but at the same time had the most happen to him.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really weird sense, because the whole focus of season 5 is Daniel LaRusso and Terry Silver and how they're gonna take each other down. And Johnny Lawrence kind of goes, I've got a reason to stay out of this
Yeah.
now.
Until the end when he's like, I'm fed up with this now.
Yeah. Well,
Which is fair. It's been going on long enough.
yeah, and he literally says he's had an impact on all of our lives. He's threatened
Yeah.
me. He's threatened my
exactly.
family. So now I am going to step in.
And I think he kind of thought that he had a win over Kreese a little bit, and he'd kind of said to him, oh, chump, whatever.
Chump. Hey, chump. Listen.
So like he said, and Daniel said he was going to give him the name of a lawyer to help him get
Yeah.
out, and actually he just wrote on the bit of paper or whatever. So I think he kind of was like that's fine, I feel better about that now, that's done, one thing closed,
Yeah.
like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so now he can kind of just go, let's just finish this once and for all, and I'm done with all of it, and we'll just start from scratch. Like, it's getting on his nerves.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that Johnny had that moment of going, because he never really had any investment as to who Terry Silver was. And actually, Johnny only really found out about Terry Silver in the last season.
Yeah, he wasn't really
There's-
that bothered about
Yeah,
him.
he
I
was
don't
just
think.
like-
I think he just thought, like, at first, the first couple of
Yeah.
seasons, he wanted to fight because he was really angry about his situation, and it made him more angry, and he just wanted to fight everyone all the time. And then now he's kind of had a reason to step back and not be angry and fight because he was quite happy. And then this guy's pulled him into it,
Yeah.
so he has to fight to get himself out.
Yeah, I think at one point, I can't remember if it was right at the start of this season or towards the end of last season, but Daniel LaRusso is trying to talk Johnny into helping him against Terry Silver and against Cobra Kai. And he goes, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what do
who
I
is
have?
he? I don't
Like,
know.
what do I have against this guy? John Kreese was the guy I didn't like, and he's in prison now.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like, yeah, I have no reason to get involved with Terry Silver. But then he obviously takes it upon himself Terry Silver takes it upon himself to kind of pull Johnny into it a little bit and put a
How
little bit
did
of
he
a
do that?
threat on him. It was just through circumstance, because he was at the hospital when they were getting checked out, and because he knows his allegiance to Daniel and closing down Miyagi-Do. But needless to say, Johnny gets involved, and he wants to help Daniel, and I feel like seeing him and Daniel and Mike effing Barnes all together. Like, out of everyone that I thought they were going to bring back, I didn't actually think Mike Barnes was going to be that high up. So, seeing him in this series, I was like, oh yeah, that guy did exist. And what's happening to him? And it's so funny because obviously there has to be certain amounts of misunderstandings. And I do find it funny that the comedy of errors that happens more often than not in Cobra Kai is overhearing a conversation that takes on a completely different meaning when you're just overhearing it and getting the wrong side of things.
Yeah.
And then getting into a fight over it and Chosen basically completely misreading the situation.
Yeah, just going straight in.
I found there are multiple times where Chosen just gets involved and it's just like...
But that's just how he was. That was like classic him as well. He just... Oh, yeah.
Like, but
Daniel
you can
LaRusso
understand.
shows up to Okinawa. This guy doesn't even know who he is, but straight away he's just like, oh, I don't like him. Well, yeah, but why though?
But it's just... Like, even coming from a different country, you're not a Neanderthal. And, like, you can understand and see... clearly when people are like messing around or whatever, and then it's just like, oh, he's working with Terry Silver, he's trying to kill you. It's like, no, we were shaking hands. It's like, he's not a Neanderthal.
Yeah, I know,
like
but
he would understand
he
that.
just knew why he was going there and he just wanted to help him.
Yeah, I get that. And I thought that him going undercover in Cobra Kai was going to last a lot longer.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, it didn't last
like, he
very
kind
long,
of blew his cover after about...
I know. He's
after
such a
about, like,
nerd. But
one
then, like,
session
He's also
there.
always been really dumb as well.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. For someone who's a ninja and is, like, basically a hired assassin... He's
no,
not
but he's
that
actually
smart.
not, though, is he? He's not actually an assassin or a ninja. Just somebody who knows karate.
Well, this guy's life is about karate. That's all he knows. He doesn't know how to interact with people. He's never been drunk before. He's never... It's just a stranger in a strange land, I suppose. But what do you think the future holds? Because obviously we're recording this right off of the back of watching the last episode 10 of season 5, and what an episode! What a finale! Because you said at one point, "Oh, I know what he's going to do. He's going to use all of Terry Silver's techniques. Oh, Silver, you did a wrong un by teaching him all of your moves."
Yeah, that was stupid. I mean, who would have thought that in 35 years' time or whatever, he would be fighting him and destroying him.
Right, using his own
what
techniques.
Terry Silver taught him all that time ago.
Yeah.
Just comes back on you, you know. You should be careful who you talk to and what you do, because
that was what you were saying about the next Karate Kid with the guy who was teaching the military kids, right? You were saying, if you're teaching these kids and they can't beat you in a
you're
fight,
a terrible teacher.
you're obviously not teaching them well.
Obviously, Terry Silver's an actually very good teacher.
Right.
He actually knows what he's doing, obviously. So that kind of gives you a bit more respect for him. The fact that, like, a student of his from 35 years ago still remembers everything that he taught him. So, like, I know Daniel LaRusso had it in his head already. Like, he became a good student because of the way Mr. Miyagi taught him. Wasn't
Right.
like defensive, attacking. It was like, listen, knowledge is key, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
he made him a good student. So he just soaked up everything that Terry Silver told him. But even so, to put it into practice all that time later, after not really using it that much,
Yeah.
he must have been quite good at teaching.
Yeah. It was, I mean, and I know that obviously we're not watching, it's like with any martial arts film, you're not watching something that's like alive actual fight between people. So obviously you're
And
watching
some of
stuff
that
that is
sword work
choreographed.
wasn't them.
I mean,
It wasn't. That
no,
guy
I
wasn't
don't
even
think it-
Asian.
Well, no. I think some of the stunt, because what you got to remember.
A lot of it is them though.
Oh yeah,
So
a lot
I
of it
do
is.
know that, but I think that part where it was like a wide shot was a little bit too nimble for their age. That's all.
I feel like out of all of the people that aren't Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence, I feel like out of all of the rest of the cast of adults that aren't, the kids that are obviously well trained and can do their own stunts because they're young enough, I feel like Terry Silver, Thomas Ian Griffith, I always forget which way round they are. I feel like he is the person who is the most capable of
I
doing
think so as
his
well.
own stunts.
Yeah, I think so as well.
He's the one who can bring the most into an actual scene
Because
because
he looks like he still looks after himself, and he's a little bit like, he looks almost in real life like a little bit, I don't want to say hippie, but like
athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't mean hippie, but I mean like a bit wild, a bit more natural,
Yeah.
like looking after himself,
I mean,
type of thing.
Bloody hell, John Kreese, as much as I like him as a character, as an antagonist in Cobra Kai, I feel like Terry Silver is a little bit too, like, uber rich and powerful. Like, he's
Yeah.
almost overpowered as an
Yeah.
antagonist. And I feel like John Kreese is the original bad guy of the Cobra Kai series and the Karate
he is,
Kid,
but like
right?
I understand him kind of. Like I understand why he does the things that he does.
Yes.
So like even on this episode, it made sense at the beginning when he said he was just trying to give them what he didn't have so they wouldn't make his mistakes and they wouldn't be bullied and they wouldn't be beaten up.
Yes.
Like he was trying to teach children how to fight so that they wouldn't have the situation, like experiences.
Every
that he
villain
has
is
had.
the hero of their own story.
I know, but Terry Silver he's not a hero of any story.
No, he's just
like
power
that for some
hungry.
reason.
But even John Kreese, who I think is the original bad guy of Cobra Kai, right? Even then, even for him, they had to replace him with the person that plays his young self to do a fight scene in the prison with.
Yeah, because he's old. He's
Yeah.
stiff and old.
He
He's in
is.
his 70s, probably.
He is. But I mean, I can see why they had to do that to make a good
Yeah.
fight scene.
Yeah, definitely.
But
And it was quite nice.
But yeah, it was good to see that happen and get the sense that, oh, actually, he's meant to be doing all of this, but
Yeah.
we're seeing his young self because that's how he sees himself
Yeah.
now. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I get that. But the crane kick makes a flying comeback.
I am not going to complain about any part of Cobra Kai ever
Right.
for my whole life. I'm never going to say anything bad about it, so you're not
But-
going to get... No.
Oh, there
So
isn't a
you're
but.
not going to get any
Okay.
complaining from me about anything. Just like, spoiler alert, I'm never going to say anything bad about it, so don't even try.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah, I like it. I like
Yeah.
everything that they do. I like everything that they do. And the fact that they keep bringing people back from the old films, love it. The fact that they keep flashbacking back to the old films, love it. He uses all the stuff that Terry Silver taught him. And
That was
it
what I was gonna
shows
mention.
it like meshed together. And
Yeah.
he's like, love it. I love everything about it.
In that last fight scene, and I knew that it had to come down to Daniel LaRusso and Terry
Yeah,
Silver at some point,
obviously.
and I was like, is Johnny Lawrence going to make a triumphant, like, kick-ass
No,
return
because like
at
even
some point?
he knows that it's
Is
not
it
his
gonna
fight
be
though. That's the thing.
Daniel LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence, and Mike Barnes all taking on? And I was like, no, it has to
It's
be.
Daniel's fight.
It's the bit where he catches the punch between the
I
knee
love
and the elbow.
That
That
so
was...
much. So like he looks.
I loved it. And again, obviously, Johnny Lawrence is the hero of Cobra Kai as a series. Obviously, we know that. And I don't think I have screamed, Johnny! So loud as I did in this episode where he sees the scan of the baby
he's
scan.
gonna fight.
And I'm like, oh, you suckers are going down. So that moment was the moment. I think the only other time I screamed Johnny as loudly as that was when he went to the Cobra Kai dojo to save Daniel.
Oh, that was so
LaRusso.
good. That was so good.
That was
This
great.
is what I mean. How can you complain about it? I know there could be a lot of people that say, oh, well, they're just bringing back all the old stuff and they're just repeating everything they did in the films. And they keep flashbacking.
History repeats itself.
Yeah, listen to the song. So
Terry Silver taught Daniel these techniques all of these years ago, and now he's using them to win.
Yeah.
History repeats itself.
yeah. And it's just like, obviously it's for the fans and it's like lip service, and it's like when people complain about Star Wars, they're bringing too much stuff back. It's not a story. They're just bringing in. It's just too nostalgic. No. I wasn't even around when these films came out, so I don't have like that old, like age-old nostalgia like trip with them type thing.
Sure.
But even I like when they go back to like the old stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's like the film. Oh, he's doing stuff from the film. Like, I just like it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would have a problem with it. It's just like fun. It's just a fun show that's like easy to watch. It's just a good time, and it's just nice. Like it's just fun.
I feel like this last episode in particular, but also this series in particular, solidified to me why I think that Karate Kid 3 is one of the better ones of the franchise as well, because this justified Daniel LaRusso learning Cobra Kai techniques and getting pushed into it by
But obviously they didn't
Mike
know
Barnes
that then
and-
when they wrote the film.
No. And Mike Barnes got kind of a bit of redemption, really. But
I mean, yeah, he stole
he
a
was
painting
like-
that was worth loads of
I mean,
money.
this is the thing. Mike Barnes was in this series for a sum total of probably 20 minutes.
I know, but then that's kind of the amount of time that his character was in the film for. Like,
Oh,
he
yeah,
wasn't
I mean,
a
that
big
is a
player
good
in the
point.
film. He just turned up a few times
is
to
a
like
good
kick him
point.
about a bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I was actually surprised that they brought him back. I didn't really understand that too much, but I guess they need somebody else as like they just like
returning character.
keep like ringing people
Yeah.
up who used to play characters in Karate Kid and say who's available on this day, and he was, so he just turned up.
And you said something really interesting towards the start of this series as well, because obviously this series picks up after the competition at the end of last season where Miyagi-Do, Eagle Fang basically lost the tournament overall, but it was rigged
Yeah,
from the
so
start.
they won really. Yeah.
So Terry Silver started opening up Cobra Kai
All
gyms
over.
all over. And you said something that I thought was really interesting at the start of this series, because you said, actually, I can understand why Cobra Kai would be so successful in bringing in kids. Because if they had a flashy gym with a smoothie bar and adverts on TV and cool uniforms like what they have, and you know, everything's branded, everything's like Under Armour and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's
that
just
with the
cool.
Cobra Kai logo, and you said, if I was a kid, I would think that would be really cool and I would want to join Cobra Kai. And I'm like, yeah.
They're not all like they're not all bad kids. They go there wanting a good teacher
Yeah.
and a nice place to do it.
Yeah.
And then he just turns them into that, which I mean obviously that's the whole point of the show,
Yeah.
isn't it? But I mean everybody wants to go and work for a company that have like good benefits in a nice office,
Yeah.
nice environment, like nice you know, well, I mean, I
As
was going to
one-
say nice people that work there, but not really.
As one kid pointed
But not
out,
in Cobra.
as one kid pointed out, at least this dojo has a roof.
Yeah, literally.
I was like, yeah, oh, yeah, actually,
So,
yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, he's just got so much money to throw at the thing that he can just bring as many people in as he wants. But, like, Daniel LaRusso also has a lot of money to throw at it. He just thinks that it should be simple and you don't need all of the gubbins and, like, you know, bells and whistles to be good at it. So he just knows that all you need is a back garden, a fence, and a car,
Yeah,
and you can do karate.
because that's how he learned
It's like,
karate,
it doesn't
and that's
matter
how he
how much
won.
money you've got.
Yeah.
He's not going to throw all his money at it because it's a waste of time. It's not necessary.
Exactly, it's the
But-
teachings.
To have a big audience or a big team, you do need those bells and whistles. You do need a smoother bar and a roof.
I mean, a smoothie bar and a roof is like bare minimum what I would like from a gym.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I don't know about that woman. That woman kind of annoyed me. I know that was out of nowhere, but I just remember, like, got a flash of her face and was like,
Oh yeah, so
I don't know about her too much. But,
she's the granddaughter of the person
yeah, the
that
big old
taught
teacher.
Terry Silver and John Kreese their style of, well,
I
not John
always forget what
Kreese,
that is.
but Terry Silver, that style of karate. Yeah. No, she was. I mean,
I don't know what's going to happen to her. She's going to take it over, obviously.
yeah, probably, and I think there's going to be between her and John Kreese.
I know. No, don't say that.
Now here's
Don't
the thing.
say anything about that.
Because now there's two things we have to address. First of all, both of them are around John Kreese. But first of all, him seeing the deep faked young version
That
of
literally
Johnny Lawrence
made me cry.
that was heartbreaking because
Because it wasn't really Johnny Lawrence, but
No.
it just made me think that it was him talking about that. Like, I feel like, I know he doesn't like him, but there's always a part of him that actually does like him, which is what makes him hate him so much. So it's like,
Yeah.
he knows that he can't ever get rid of him because there's always a bit in there that's like, oh, but he was actually quite good to me, or oh,
Yeah.
but he did, like, teach me this and he did like
Yeah.
he can't get rid of him, and
No.
so that's why he hates him so much, because he actually likes him, like, and he's like fighting with himself all the time. So
because he was always the mentor to him, and you can't
Yeah.
take that back
because he
no
knows how
matter
rubbish his dad was.
Yeah, and I think it's the other way around with John Kreese as well. Like, John Kreese saw, you see him say to Terry Silver at one point, there's a kid that I think could be the next champion, and
Yeah, he's
and
actually
he's so
really nice
great,
about him
and
all
he's
the
even
time.
got the same name as me,
And he says to the prison woman, like, I thought he was my son, like, I felt like he was my son, I treated him, or like I felt like, you know, yeah, he was his son.
yeah,
And although
and it's
I
just
don't know
like,
whether he was telling the truth or whether he just wanted her to come over to him and, like, be
that's what we gotta
sympathetic
work
so that he could
out.
take her thing.
that's what we've got to work
I
out.
think
Like,
it's
was
true,
it?
though. I think he just keeps pretending that he doesn't have that side to him, but actually does. I mean, he's told Johnny Lawrence quite a few times, I treated you like, you know, my son, or like
yeah.
family, or I did this for you, and why aren't you grateful? And I think he thinks that he's really helped him and
Yeah,
really, like, done him a service.
yeah,
And he
absolutely.
hasn't. He's messed him up.
And you were so worried throughout the last episode. You were like, "Oh my god, I think people are actually going
Yeah,
to
because
die."
I thought, oh, this is going to be the one where there's like a twist in the tale and someone's actually going to be dead. But I mean, I'm glad that didn't happen, because I
No.
was so anxious about it the whole time. I didn't even want to watch. But at the same time, it would be a little bit kind of dramatic and cool to have, like, the tragedy of, like, a sudden twist death or something. Like, it's quite.
Like, season 5 is the season that has dropped the most F-bombs.
I know, I was going to
To
say, I saw
date.
Daniel LaRusso swear.
I never thought I would see Daniel LaRusso drop
What would his
the
mother
F-bomb.
think of that?
Right? Well, she's from Jersey. I'm sure she'll understand.
Hmm.
But I don't think that they could drop that many F-bombs and have a death at the end. I think that would be...
Like, yeah. It keeps saying, when you go to turn it on Netflix, the warnings that come up is sex references. I've never even heard them mention it
what's going
once. Never heard them. He's got a baby.
He's
Scan.
got a baby
Oh,
on the
right.
way. So, I mean, obviously that means that they must have done it at some point. So, you know.
I know there was like some parts that got a little bit more racy in this series than all the rest of them, but it still wasn't like you didn't see anything.
No, nothing too.
There was literally nothing at all.
Other than the swearing, this could have been a 12A series.
Yeah, do they not have
I
it as like
reckon.
a 15 or something? Or
I think it
18 or
was.
something?
No, it's a 15.
He gets
I think
a big
it's
gash in his back.
yeah. Chosen gets cut. I'm glad Chosen didn't.
I mean, that
die,
was like flapping open.
But
It was horrible.
I'm glad Chosen didn't die. I think it would have been too dramatic. I mean, there's no way that Terry Silver would have been able to buy his way out of literally killing someone.
But that's what I was thinking. This is what I said. He's like an inch away from hitting that guy's neck or head or face off of that table.
Yeah.
Like you go in there to do a simple karate fight thinking you're just getting somebody off your back, and then you push somebody a little bit too far and you've killed someone.
Yeah. Although a dude did get his fingers sliced off by another dude. So that was pretty bad. But I mean, I think you can recover from that.
Well, yeah.
But I do think that it's given Chosen a reason to be out of commission for a lot of the next series. Yeah, he's just going to go back home now.
That's why I thought they were going to kill him off, because I thought there have to be a reason for him to not be in the next one, because he's obviously not going to. I mean, the thing is, they've run out of films now, so they can't keep bringing old people back anymore because they've run out.
Well, will they bring Hilary Swank into it?
Why?
That's what I'm wondering.
Why would they do that?
There's literally
she didn't
zero
even know
connection.
Daniel LaRusso.
No, I know, but I did find it funny that his wife's cousin is the woman from Karate Kid Part 3. That was a weird connection, but I thought
I like that.
Yeah,
it's like now you know
cool.
the story of how they met.
Yeah,
like how he met his wife. That's really
absolutely.
Nice. Yeah.
So, what are your predictions for season 6?
My prediction is that John Kreese is going to come out. Well, I mean that's happened already. But he's going to be out and he's going to go and find Johnny Lawrence and he's going to say, I'm so sorry that I did all those things to you, but I love you really. And they're going to hug. And then Johnny Lawrence is going to say, guess what, John Kreese? I'm going to be a dad. I'm having another kid. And then John Kreese is going to be like, I'm going to be here for your baby like a granddad. And then there's going to be a nice big shot of them at the end. When the baby's born, he's holding the baby like a granddad, and everyone's going to be like, eh.
Wow, you really don't want anything dramatic to happen in season 6, do you?
That's dramatic.
I mean, it's pretty...
That's really dramatic.
There's no tension
people
there,
who used to fight each other all the time has now turned
true.
around to be actually liking him. Yeah.
So, do you think that this is it, and Terry Silver is like locked away? And
I mean, he's obviously locked away, but he's going to be trying to do stuff from the inside. I mean, I kind of hope that they don't make it too much of a thing or give him too much like space, because it's like, that has kind of run its course now, and the third film finished.
Yeah.
That storyline, it's like it's Daniel LaRusso's beaten him and he's used his stuff against him, and that's the story of the film. Him, the kind of jeopardy in between. Is it going to be Cobra Kai? Is it going to be Miyagi? That sort of thing. So that's all done now. So there isn't anything left of that film. So there isn't anything left of Terry Silver, surely.
No, I guess not. But I want to know why people aren't talking more about the Senkai Taikai. I mean, it literally baffles me that there are people out in the world.
Actually, wait, stop. What is happening with that? Because he isn't their teacher anymore.
No. So
that's why she's going to have to do. No, but they don't have a team anymore.
Well,
they just won't be a part of it then.
I think that she will, like the female sensei.
Yeah.
I forget what her name is, but she will probably try and put together like a team of the other senseis that they brought in to teach at Cobra. Yeah, but
why do
I don't
adults
know that
keep fighting kids all the time? Why are adults fighting kids all the time?
And what do we think that the combination of Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do is going to be
we
called?
never heard that.
They never came up with a name.
There are so many things. Like, so we never got to see them do that thing. The Senkai
Taikai.
Yeah. Never got to see. I mean, nothing was even mentioned of that ever again. And
Well,
then
they're
they
building
said,
up to
oh,
it. They were building
you'll
up to the
find
Senkai
us.
Taikai.
You'll hear eventually what the name's going to be. We'll work on it. And that hasn't happened either.
This is what we've got to figure out. So maybe it's going back to basics. Maybe it's Johnny and Daniel trying to figure out the balance of how to... I mean, this is the thing. In this series, they finally got their act together. They finally got along like a team, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, now Kreese is going to come in and like pull them apart again.
Yeah, and there are so many moments where you, in this series, where you thought, oh, this is going to break down. This is where they're going to come to blows. This is where they're going to get upset at one another. And it went the opposite way. And they went, oh, actually, no, you're right.
It's
I totally
fine,
understand.
yeah.
It's fine. And I was like, oh my God, what? People making sensible decisions and acting like... This is a series where people just made good decisions every single time. And I was like, oh my God, people are making the right decision here. This is great to see. Finally. They've wisened up to it. So I think that it's going to be the journey to the Senkai Taikai, and I think that they're going to be entered into it, and they're going to get their style, their combination, unorthodox style of martial arts displayed in the Senkai Taikai. But I think that she is going to try to stop them along their way, because the whole thing was that she was said to Terry Silver that he had a promise to her grandfather to bring his style of karate to the masses, to the mainstream, and I think that she's still going to want to do that. And I think that John Kreese is going to have to adopt a new name, because John Kreese is quote-unquote dead, so he's going to have to make a new personality.
I know I said that I wasn't going to say negative things about it because I like it and everything about it's just fine. It's just a fun show, so just like it's lighthearted and just live with it. But that one bit was a bit confusing, how he managed to escape.
Just walk out.
Yeah, well, I mean, he managed to walk out because he created like a big diversion type thing.
It's funny how absolutely no one questions you if you're wearing a white doctor's coat.
I know, but what I don't understand is how he could make it out of the door all the way down the road. They would have gone into that room, they would have seen that the two paramedics were lying on the ground and the guy that's supposed to have been knifed wasn't there anymore, and the doctor, who he didn't do anything to, well, I suppose we don't really know.
We don't know.
But anyway, but the doctor
probably knocked
still
him out.
Would have been like,
but he just sat up
gone.
like bloody Michael Myers in the chair, like the freaking Terminator.
I know. But that's what I mean. By the time they would have run in there and gone, oh, he's not actually here on the bed anymore. Quick, we better turn around and go back down the corridor because he might have escaped.
I reckon he's out with a vendetta against Daniel LaRusso.
I know, but they would have found
because
him.
he double bluffed him and left, and they both left him just in prison. So I reckon he's got a little bit of a vendetta.
He's got a vendetta against everyone.
He's John Kreese, of course he does.
She's just sort himself out.
Yeah. And I reckon we're going to see, in season 6, I reckon we're going to see the birth of baby Lawrence.
Yeah, I hope so. That's going to be so cool.
And Miguel and Robbie are going to have to do babysitting duties.
I mean, I know there are going to be, like, rocky patches for them, I think. But they've still moved themselves forward, so there will be times where there'll be like a bit of arguing, a bit, still that like tension sometimes.
I'm just happy to see Robbie, Miguel, Hawk, and
just being
the
adults
other
and
guy.
getting on with it.
Yeah.
And that's down to Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence together. Like, knuckle down and defend yourself.
Being a team.
But be an adult and get on with it. Like, just be responsible.
All on the same side. That was the highlight.
Protect the egg.
Protect the egg. Protect the egg.
That was so good as well.
That was brilliant.
It was just like all those episodes ago, they learnt that thing. Oh, it's so good. I love it.
I love how history repeats itself. Don't you? I actually love how history
that wasn't
repeats
history repeating
itself.
That was just them being taught a lesson.
That was.
They used a lesson.
Yeah.
But even so, I
love how Chosen just goes around with sighs.
Yeah, that's
like
he
in the way. Like he just always got them.
He never would have been let into that club with them.
No. But even so. Okay, so I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for our spoiler talk of Cobra Kai Season 5. So there you have it. Some theories for what the future of
When's the
karate
new
in the
one
valley
out? I want it to be now.
looks like. I wish it was now. I wish it was now.
I'm not ready to start.
No, I'm not ready either. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think that Season 6 is going to come out maybe August next year. I think they're going to take a year to film and produce and release it. I reckon that it's going to come out late summer, early autumn next year. We're going to finally we're going to build up to the Senkai Taikai. It baffles me that people just aren't more concerned with the Senkai. It's like people don't even know about the Senkai Taikai, and I feel like that's a tragedy.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because I feel like more people should just know.
What do you mean by
about the Senkai
What do you mean
Taikai?
by more people, though? But who do you mean by people?
Well, everyone. Why don't people realize how much of a big deal the Senkai Taikai is?
When you say people, who are you talking about?
Everyone in the world.
What, like
Amber.
the people next door and that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, everyone. Everyone should be talking about how important the Senkai Taikai is.
No.
Okay? So I reckon that's where we're going to get to. And I genuinely hope that this karate
Ralph
kid...
Macchio said he doesn't know anything about the status of Cobra Kai and if anything is going to happen for Season 6, but they might get good news. That's what he said.
I absolutely think it'll get greenlit, and I
he said
seriously
it hasn't
hope...
officially been picked up, and I have to say that because that's the truth.
Okay, well, I hope it does, and I hope that we get to see what happens with the Senkai Taikai, and I hope that this Karate Kid film that's been announced is the culmination of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, because I don't understand.
6 seasons and a movie.
I don't understand why they would. I mean, it wouldn't be their choice to end it now. Obviously, it would be whether some like Netflix wanted to carry on. But I mean, one extra series to a series that's already one extra season to a series that's already kind of shown that it's popular and people like it. I don't know why they would stop it
It's got
now.
legs.
If they say this is the last one, there'd be no point in them saying, "Oh no, you're not doing the last one. Not good enough."
No.
Like, this doesn't make sense.
They would. I reckon they should do at least one more, if anything, to just round it out and give everyone like that final. Yeah, this is it now. This is how it all comes to a close.
Yeah.
You know. So
And
that's
also,
what I'm
Ralph
hoping.
Macchio's bringing a book out, so he's been on like doing loads of TV interviews and like going on loads of, like magazines, and like he's been doing loads of press stuff all over the place. So it's getting more.
I want to know
like,
where William
traction.
Zabka's book is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean,
Who cares about Ralph Macchio actually?
They can.
Like, why is
They
he
could
got a
book
book?
tour together.
Yeah, but
you
why
know?
has he got a book though? What has he done?
Well, he's done 3 Karate Kid movies. That's
Oh yeah,
to start
Johnny
with.
Lawrence didn't really do any of the rest of those, did he?
No. Should have done.
Yeah.
But there we go. So that was our thoughts on Cobra Kai Season 5. But what did you think of Cobra Kai Season 5? Do you think that it's just a bunch of men taking karate a little bit too seriously, getting kids involved? Or do you think that this is the best bit of television since, I don't know, Live Aid or something? I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that was really big in television history. And that's all I could think of.
Coronation Street.
The premiere of Coronation
That
Street.
live
I don't
episode
know.
they did that everyone wanted to watch.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. What do you think the future of Karate in the Valley could look like? And do you think that they will get Season 6 of Cobra Kai up and running? All of these thoughts and more can be sent to us via our social medias. I am at Drew Bridger.
At Amber Inch.
And make sure you use the hashtag BTTRpod so that we know when we are being talked about on the internet. But until our next episode, Amber, I think we need to go and spread the word.
The word.
Yeah. And that word is Senkai Taikai. People, not enough people are talking about the Senkai Taikai, okay? We need to go and spread the word about the Senkai Taikai.
If you can't see, you can't fight. If you can't stand, you can't fight. I've forgotten the other one. If you can't breathe, you can't fight.
I'm just so glad that you nearly forgot that one because I really like breathing.